Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Sam's Little 33 here, and welcome to another episode of the show about Pokemon TCG stuff mix up. And today we're going to be talking about another card from Boundaries Crossed, like the 10th one in a row. And that's because it is filled with a lot of kind of those cards that are like, it could be playable if you make the right build and the right combination. And that card is Flygon. And Flygon. Yeah, Flygon, the Sand Slammer ability. It's kind of like a New Age Chandelure, except you have to have him active in between turns. Like, for example, with Chandelure, you have that deck with the Darkrai where you switch into Chandelure and then Curse Drop some, and then, retreat into Darkrai. This one, you have to stay active, so it's a little less compatible with attackers, but there are still attackers that can use him. There's things that can switch to the bench so you can have him in the active, or you could just use it by himself because he does have an attack. It's just kind of a bad attack in my opinion. So yeah, Flygon. Let's get to that. First, I should say that Flygon is actually appeared. I think it's appeared in a couple cities. Apparently, it's gotten some top 4s in Masters, which is kind of ridiculous. Flygon, Dusknoir. Not sure if it had energy or not. I don't know. The energy seems kind of. I don't think the energy will be very good, but I don't know. Energyless Flygon seems like it might be a little better, so yeah. Anyway, let's get to the couple things I have to say about Flygon. Sorry, excuse me.
So, how's our friend Flygon doing? Well, he's got some more HP, 140 to be exact, a brand new Dragon typing, the Dragon weakness that comes with it, and 1 retreat. 140 is standard for Stage 2s nowadays, but still great. You never thought you'd be saying that 2 years ago, did you? The Dragon typing isn't going to help him too much, as you'll see. Dragon weakness is a minor problem, but thankfully, the weakness doesn't carry over to its basic form, which is fighting, ground in the video games, weak to water. So Rayquaza isn't going to be able to dunk it. 1 retreat is above average for a Stage 2, definitely nothing to complain about. Now for its moves. For once, something actually has a decent attack. It does 80 damage for a fighting, a grass, and 2 colorless. Wait, this is a good attack? Well, its effect is good. It gives you the option to discard a grass and a fighting attached to him, and if you do, the defending Pokemon is now paralyzed. If these types had anything resembling energy acceleration, this would be a good attack. But no, it's pretty bad in my opinion. Its ability is the reason to use this card, isn't it always? It states that, if Flygon is active, between turns, put 1 damage counter on each of your opponent's Pokemon. The only other directly offensive ability we have is Chandelure, which was very popular in several decks and still does appear in some decks. Flygon does quite a bit more damage than Chandelure. If Flygon stays active at the end of your turn and your opponent's turn, and we'll say your opponent has 3 Pokemon in play, that's 60 damage, and this number can go up to 120 if they have a full bench. 120 is a lot of damage for no energy, but it's not that hard to limit your bench for most decks, so it will most likely be doing 60 or 80. This damage does go onto every one of your opponent's Pokemon. This will allow you to work on several knockouts at once, but that takes too long. So, let's add a friend Dusknoir. This prevents you from wasting damage on stupid things like Terrakion and other large non-EX Pokemon that take too long to kill, and don't give you 2 prizes. Here's the list I eventually decided on. Max Potion seems obvious, you have no energy, so you can always heal with no side effect. There's no reason not to run 4 in my opinion. Catcher is for no other reason than to stall, since you automatically deal damage to everything. I once again find myself having a 3-level ball and 3 Ultra Ball split. Flygon can't be searched out by much other than Ultra Ball, but I often just wanted to get a basic, and I had nothing I wanted to discard with Ultra Ball, so I chose to run a lot of level ball. There was almost always something to search with it, be it a Stage 1 or a backup Trapinch. Enhanced Hammer is to stop a rampaging Mewtwo from getting too strong to deal with. Rescue Scarf is to help stream Flygons. Skyla is great in this deck, especially in combination with the card we'll talk about in a sec. If you have a Flygon, a Trapinch, and a Dusknoir, you're set. Most turns I just wanted a Max Potion or Catcher to keep myself alive a little longer, so Skyla was the perfect fit for this deck. Tropical Beach is perfect for this deck. Since you never attack, you can use its effect to draw until you have 7 every turn. Of course, it's a pretty expensive card, but if you're going to play it on Play TCG, then go for it. I also have a few tech ideas as well. Muna from Boundaries Crossed. You don't attack or retreat, so sleep does nothing to you. It can be an easy prize for your opponent, and it only works 25% of the time though. Tool Scrapper. Almost all tools are useless against this deck. Eviolite, Rescue Scarf, and EXP Share are all useless against you. So why run it? The answer is Garbodor. You literally can't do anything without your abilities. Even with Tool Scrappers, you'll probably only get 40 or so damage out before you get locked again. And you can't even move that damage. Even with 4 Scrapper in your deck, I think Garbodor would be still hard to beat, and it's a dead card in every other matchup. Bronzong. You don't see this one too often, do you? Healing cards are some of the hardest things to deal with when you're using this deck, so why not run it? Well, running it stops your own healing too, so you'd have to take out max potions if you decide to use them. More hammers, hooligans, and other disruption cards. This deck is pretty slow at winning the game, and often has a ton of free space due to it not needing to fit in 12 plus energy. You usually have a supporter free turn where you can use hooligans. If you like the flips and all that stuff, go for it. So how's testing been going? Well, I think the deck is pretty good, but I kept running into the 2 worst things possible. Hydreigon and Cresselia. Sometimes Cresselia in Hydreigon. Hydreigon can heal off way too much damage for you to keep up with, and if they ever junk hunt for 2 max potions, you pretty much just lose the game right there. Your only saving grace is that they usually can't keep its bench too small. Cresselia EX's Sparkling Particles gets rid of 1 damage counter on it each turn, so Sandslammer does nothing to it. The other problem I have with it is even though my opponents often had 3 or 4 Pokemon on their bench, they also ran healing cards, so I was forced to KO Pokemon once the damage got on the field. But once I KO'd a few Pokemon, they wouldn't put down more, so Sandslammer just kept getting weaker and weaker. That's usually the problem that comes up with any Dusknoir deck. Use up all the damage at once and lower Sandslammer's power, or keep as much out as possible and risk them playing healing cards. The Sandslammer part can also relate to other Dusknoir decks, where your opponent drops something huge that you would be able to kill if you had any damage on the field. Does this variant of Flygon have any competitive possibilities? No, not really. It doesn't do that much damage, and it can be tough to play. It doesn't really have much problem setting up, which is nice. If you do try to make this a competitive deck, try out the Disruption. The next variant I tried out I haven't tested much, but it seems to work alright. Flygon Acelgor. The idea is to use Deck and Cover, and after using it, send up Flygon to use Sandslammer, and then use Darkrai to retreat into Acelgor or Mew EX to repeat the process again. One of the things that irks me to play this deck is that with 50 from Deck and Cover, plus 20 from Poison and Sandslammer going into your turn, then after their turn ends, that 20 more from Poison and Sandslammer, that adds up to 90. Repeat the attack again, and that's enough to knock out an EX Pokemon with Poison and Sandslammer going into your turn, allowing you to continue your turn without them getting to attack, which has always been the perk of playing in a Acelgor deck. Now, this doesn't always work, of course, since they can use either Switch or Keldeo EX's Rush In to get out of that paralysis. There's also the problem that if your opponent's EX was on the field for a few turns before being sent up to get deck covered, there may be some Sandslammer damage on there that makes their Pokemon get knocked out, with the damage going to their turn, so they'll get to attack. Enough chit-chat, let's get to the list. So, where to start? Great Ball. Yep. Great Ball. Since the idea is to have as thin a deck as possible, so it's easier to draw into your Acelgors / Selmich / Mew EXs / DCEs as easy as possible, Great Ball should cover most, if not your entire deck. Even just when getting set up, there's 17 Pokemon in your deck. Well, technically there's only 16 or less due to you having to start with one in the active spot with technicalities, so it will have a likely chance of getting something useful in the early game. Switch is to cover a problem I had with the Acelgor Dusknoir Gothitail deck I talked about a little while ago, and that is my opponent capturing something with no dark energy, and really shouldn't ever have dark energy on it, such as Darkrai. You'd never think that Darkrai EX, of all things, would be the worst thing to have a dark energy in this deck. As I've said, I have barely played any games with this deck, but the single game I did play with it was against Darkrai Hydreigon, with Keldeo EX and Cresselia. Seems like the worst thing possible, right? But I somehow beat it even with a terrible setup, so that may show you how good this deck is.
And that's all we got for today's episode. Flygon seems alright. I think I need to test a little more with the Acelgor Flygon deck a little more. Just said that. Anyway, yeah. Probably going to test that one a little more to see if it's good or not. Yeah. As for cities, the results are still pretty similar. Blastoise, Keldeo, and Landorus stuff is winning a lot. Ho-Oh is doing pretty good. There's a couple Rayquaza Electrics, which I'm a little surprised about, honestly. I think the deck is a little lower tier now than it is before, but it's still doing all right. And there's like Darkrai and Hammer Time and all the pretty standard decks. Not the most creative things, no crazy rogues, but it's definitely interesting. I think we'll definitely be seeing some interesting decks come out this regionals, just like we did this last regionals, where stuff like Roserade and Victini were very popular. I think we're definitely going to see some interesting cards at this regional show up, which I am excited about. But as for me, in terms of cities, I went to 2 this weekend, and both of them I took a Dusknoir Darkrai deck. Yeah, I did actually decide to take Dusknoir. One of the days I had Darkrai Mewtwo Dusknoir, and the other was Darkrai Trachean Dusknoir. And both of them I went 3-1, but one of them, there was some incident where there was 5 3-1s with total of 10 people. One of them dropped. So yeah, 5 out of 9 people in the end went 3-1, and I just so happened to be the one guy who got cut out of top 4. Isn't that life? It's my life, at least. This kind of stuff happens all the time. And then the other one, I did get 4th, so in that one there were only 4 3-1s. So yeah, Resistance is not my friend. It has never been my friend and never will it. I don't know why. It's always Resistance. It's always terrible. Even if I do good, like in both those tournaments, I lost in the 3rd round, and in the one where I got 5th, I actually lost the person who got 1st, and I also fought the person who got 2nd and beat him, and then I fought 2 1 and 3s, and I actually got down paired to a theme deck of all things when I was 1-0, and it was just this stupid mess that didn't make any sense in the end. But that's life, especially mine. Anyway. Next weekend I won't be at any cities. I don't think there. This is one, but it's like really far away from me. But I will be at the one in New Holland and the one at Reading, I think it is. The one in January. Yeah, that one. And as for the next episode, I'm really not sure what I'm gonna do next episode. I don't know what I can do. I don't know. I'll think of it. I'm definitely working on some decks. I might, I don't know. I do not know. That is it. I do not know. I have no clue. But I'll probably get something out. Maybe a report of some of the cities I've been to. But anyway, I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.